And like I said, most of us actually find ourselves in that second category that I was talking about. So, what is the answer? How do you cure that? Or how do you get past that level? It's pretty easy. And the first thing you need to keep in mind is that think back to when you used to play your favorite video game, right? The second you pick up those controllers and you switch on that video game, right? Sit back, relax, get a snack. Just in that moment, you know how you feel just ecstatic that nobody can interrupt you. No matter what happens around you, you're going to be concentrated on that and you're just going to enjoy that time that you're going to be playing that video game, right? You have those highs, you have those lows where you're in defeat. But regardless, you still come back to it, right? It doesn't matter how many times you've lost, no matter how many times you've won, you still want that thrill, that excitement that video game has. So if you've thought of video games that way, don't you think that life in itself is pretty much the same? It's not too different, And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. And you'll explore that video games and real life actually aren't as different as they seem. And in fact, if you succeed in one, you might succeed in the other. Let's start with one of the OG games that we all know, right? Temple Run. At least if you're in my generation, you know exactly what Temple Run is and you've played it 1,000 times. Right? So it's basically this guy running away from this monster behind him who's chasing him. So you gotta avoid obstacles and you have to just pass through. Everybody who's played this knows that first you start with the yellow coins for a long run, and then afterwards you get to the red coins and then the blue coins after that, right? So the blue coins only start appearing in the game after a long continuous run, right? If you've not lost for a while. So it's like if you reach 2,000 or 3,000 coins, that's when the blue coins start coming. And the blue coins have a higher multiplier than the red ones, which have a higher multiplier than the yellow ones. But the thing is, you had to persevere all the way to get there, right? And let's say you collect all these coins to unlock new arenas, which are supposedly more difficult, right? And you unlock coins to unlock new arenas which are more difficult than the previous one. Let's take another game, 8-ball pool. It starts off with the entry fee being 200 coins and eventually it goes to 500 coins in the next stage. And so you need more coins to participate in the next event, right? Or in the next stage. Without that, you're not getting there. So do you see what's a common denominator in both of this? Initially, when you start out, it's pretty simple, right? And as you progress with each stage, either the opponents get more harder or the obstacles get more harder. And eventually, it is not going to be easy enough for everybody to cross it. And then eventually, you need some skill. You need to acquire skill. So you keep playing these games and eventually you acquire the skill that comes with this game. And then you become a master at it, right? And that's why you have to first clear level 1, then 2, then 3, then eventually you get to 9 and 10, and then you get to the level hundreds. Till then, you can't cross a level without having completed the previous level, right? And understandably, the previous levels are going to be more difficult than the later levels. So, imagine taking 2 steps across. Let's say you're starting a game for the first time and you're in level 1. And then after that, they're saying, let's go to level 50 and start there. I'm pretty sure you'd struggle to actually cope with what's happening there, right? And now that's exactly what this whole video is about. So think about being in level 50 without having crossed the previous levels. And that is what most people try to do. They're trying to jump from level 1 to level 50 without having done levels in between, like level 10, level 20, level 30, level 40. And without that, you don't have the skills to pass level 50. So expecting to cross level 50 without having skills that you've acquired in the previous levels is really nonsense. And also what's important is the time that you invest to learn these skills. Because no matter what you think, the more time that you invest in something, right, you're going to learn the skill even more. So that way, you'll be able to cross those levels from level 1 all the way to level 50 in order, right? That's by investing a lot of time, and you've learned any skills or power-ups that you can use in the later levels to increase your chances of crossing the level. And so whenever you're faced with any kind of problem, always think that I have a few stages to cross before I can tackle this. If you can't tackle a problem right now, it's probably because you haven't crossed the few stages that you need to do before you can really tackle this problem like you want to. Because in life, no matter what you think, each stage is infinitely harder than the last one, And that's why when we were toddlers, life was easy, or we thought it was hard. But then eventually when you are like 18 or 19, then you realize life was so much easier. Even high school was much more easier than where you are right now. And if you're 20 or 30, then life is much easier when you're 18 and 19 compared to 30 when you have a lot of responsibilities. And it's the same thing. Life actually gets infinitely harder. So if you don't pick up the skills in the meantime, then you're probably going to get left behind. And so we're okay with spending all this time for playing a video game, right? I used to do this a lot. Like with Fortnite, I used to play this like 3-4 hours a day. And now I think like, what was I doing with that time? But I realized that there was actually one quality which I had never discovered before till probably making this video. And that was the perseverance that you need to succeed in life, right? That's what you get, because let's say you don't want to leave on a loss, right? You keep playing again and again so that you can leave on that win. Regardless of what you say, right? That is actually a winner's mindset, right? You want to win. No matter what, you want that win. Without that, you're not getting off. Now, if you have that, right? If you've seen that, you actually have what it takes to succeed. Believe it or not, even if you haven't experienced success yet, if you do this one thing where you keep going back, right? As long as you want to win, then you actually have what it takes. And the thing about video games is, each level gets progressively harder and harder and harder. Now, if you can sustain your drive to keep going again and again, that is literally what you require to run a business, right? Because you're going to have challenges, and it's all going to be one level and the next and the next and the next, right? Only difference is there is no final destination where you can say, oh, I'm done with here, unless you want to sell your company. But everything else is pretty much like a video game. Because you start at level 1, which is coming up with the idea. Well, that's not as difficult as what follows after that, right? Where you have daily processes to take care of, then you have more people to manage. When you have people to manage and when you're paying their salaries, things are going to be way more difficult than it is right now. So when you are at that stage, you realize that each stage or each day that you are trying to run a business is exactly like a video game. Level 1 is easy enough. Level 2 then gets a little bit harder. Level 3 even more. And then eventually things just get harder and harder. It doesn't get easy for anybody. From the experience that I've had in my life and from the research that I've done for this video, I understood that there's actually 2 main reasons why you're probably not successful yet in what you want to do. That's because number 1, that you either do not like to endure losses, or you feel that if you lost, that's it, and you don't have that resilient mindset within you. Or number 2, and that is what I've experienced a lot, and that is you don't know exactly where to start, right? You want to start, you have ambition, you want to do something, but you just don't know what's the first step I need to take so that I can start my journey, right? And that's actually the case with many people. It's not that they don't want to do the work. They just don't know where to start, because anywhere you look, whether it's on Google or on YouTube, they'll all tell you need to understand what your business plan is, and then eventually you need to start working on it. And this is the same line they give you. But how do you start working on it? Well, I've been doing some work and I've been trying it for myself. And eventually I think I have a plan of how you can start getting ideas and how you can start getting work done for the idea that you have. And like I said, most of us actually find ourselves in that second category that I was talking about. So what is the answer? How do you cure that? Or how do you get past that level? Well, it's pretty easy. And the first thing you need to keep in mind is that you don't need all the answers to start anything. Like, think about it. When you started school, right? When you started reading and writing, did you have any prior knowledge before you started reading and writing? Well, I'm pretty sure you just had to start writing it, and that's how you did it, right? Like, think about it. You want to go to martial arts class. You want to start defending yourself. Then get beaten up by somebody else in the dojo. And that's how you learn, right? If you want to start investing, then get a demo account and start trading in that demo account. If you want to start content creation, press play, shoot the video, upload it. No matter if you have flaws or not, just upload the video, right? And then from video number 2, you make the corrections. And then video 3, you have more corrections. And it's the same thing, whether that's with investing, right? You're going to make one bad call, but then you're going to learn from that. You're going to make a second bad call, you're going to learn from that. You're going to make a third bad call, you're going to learn from that. But maybe the 4th time, through all the lessons you've learned through these 3 times, you're probably not going to make a mistake that bad. and then eventually you break even. And then in the 5th time, you're going to turn a profit. And even if you talk about learning martial arts, right? You get beaten 1 time, you get beaten a 2nd time, and eventually you're going to learn the blocks, you're going to learn the kicks so that I never get beaten up again. You don't need prior knowledge to start. You just have to start. And that is the answer. If you want to start something, if you want an idea, just start. You don't need the final answer before you've started. Let's say that you're lost, right? Like most people are. They don't know what they're doing, but you just know you want to become successful some way. But where do I start? Right? If you're not at that level yet, first thing we need to sort out is who you are. Find out who you are. Now, what you can do, especially if you play video games, is find out a few things. First thing that you need to find out is, why do you play the games that you play? Why these particular games? And that will actually tell you what kind of a person you are, first of all, right? What you lean towards. Number 2, how do you feel when you've lost a game? How do you feel when you win a game? Right? Now, channel these 2 feelings. If you've ever had it before, channel these 2 feelings right now, and you will now understand what your motivations are. Why it is that you do certain things. Maybe when you win, you feel so ecstatic, and that is why you go back to that video game, because that's probably the only place that you feel you can get a win. So you want to chase that win and you go after that win there. Or maybe let's take the other side of the spectrum where you just quit at the first time you lose. Maybe, just maybe, that's probably not it for you. But there will be a video game, or there will be an instance in life, something that you're so passionate about, where no matter how many defeats you take, you're going to keep coming back. Right? And if you've seen that in you already, then you already know the field that you need to take. It's something where you can accept failure. Right? Because not every place does accept failure. Like, let's just say certain jobs don't accept failure, but certain jobs do accept failure eventually till you get the right answer. So you have to find out those kind of jobs, and it depends on what are you actually trying to do and who are you. And that's going to determine everything that you do from this point on, right? It's going to be determined by what kind of character you have. And this character can actually be found through how you interact with video games or any other interest that you might have. And that's all up to you guys to find out right now. See, the focus of this video is actually to just make you realize that you all have the ability, right? Even if you play video games, you think you're a loser because people on internet tell you that you're a loser because you play video games. No. Because if you do play video games, you actually have the ability to transfer that. It's just you need to find what skill that is that you can learn. See, we have enough time to do that. It's no rush right now. But what we can do in the meanwhile is you try to learn the skills or try to find the skills that you could be using on a later basis, right? Otherwise, try to pursue something fun that'll teach you something new that will almost be like this challenge, right? The challenge that you feel in the video game. Translate that into something real life where you can really learn a skill. It doesn't have to be something to build a business either. It can be something as simple as communication with people, right? Like maybe you do volunteering work and there you realize how it is to interact with people, how hospitality works. And maybe that's a skill you learn, which actually can be useful in some way or the other. Because no matter what you do, there are certain skills that are going to be important in anything. So find out what it is that you probably maybe lack in and what you can actually drive yourself to keep going after it. Because it doesn't all have to be about studying or learning something. Right? You can learn things without having to study through books or through the internet. You could have a real life interaction and you would learn so much more than you would learn anywhere else. So you guys have to find out what exactly that is going to teach you something that's going to probably change your life forever. So if you guys enjoyed this as much as I did, then go ahead and drop that like, subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell. And go ahead and share it with your friends, your family, anybody who you think really needs to hear this message to change their lives forever. And go ahead and drop a comment in the comments box about something you guys thought about this video or something you guys would like to see me talk about in a future video. And with that, I leave you all and see you all in the next video. And remember, never stop dreaming. See you all.
I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing.